jms3music.
Today is August 23rd, Monday, 2010, and this is important because those of you who follow my Twitter feed know that yesterday I finally had a chance to see Ayumi Hamasaki's 2007-2008 countdown concert video. Very impressive concert, by the way. Highly recommend it. Even if you don't speak Japanese, doesn't matter. The music stands on its own. The staging definitely stands on its own. But anyways, I don't know why, but that concert has been in my head all yesterday, all night, all day today. It's now 9, it's almost 10 p.m. now. So I've been thinking about this for over 24 hours. And for some reason, this sparked an idea for a new song. Even though it's completely unrelated to anything that Ayumi Hamasaki might perform. Don't ask me to make the connections because I just don't know how to on this one. Sometimes the mind just works in mysterious ways. Anyways, this is Ayumi Hamasaki's Wikipedia entry. Rather lengthy one, as you can tell. But then again, she is one of the most important people in Japanese popular music at the moment. Not surprisingly, since her career has spanned over a decade, there are plenty of pictures of her as well. So if you spend any amount of time, what the heck is this? Okay, if you spend any amount of time online, you've probably run into her pictures at some point and just didn't realize who you're looking at. This is one of my favorites of her. But anyways, the song that she inspired is, well, here's the lyrics right here. Very basic, somewhat repetitive, well, a lot repetitive, but very basic. And the melody that I have in mind to go with these is also very basic as well. But still, I think this could work. The idea that I have at the moment is to lay a foundation of orchestral strings, but I'm also toying with the idea of if I can find the right synthesizer sound, use a bed of synthesizers instead, and layer the lyrics and everything else on top of that. But anyways, what I thought I'd do with this video is show the process that I go through as I'm creating something new. In this case, a song including lyrics, which would be sung using Vocaloid Miriam again. So I'll show how I work with that and integrate it into print music, well, into the music that I create in print music, how I integrate those together, since Vocaloid Miriam cannot directly interface with print music at all. So I'll be taking short little clips, video clips here and there as I work on this project, edit them all together at the end. Hopefully that'll give you a sense for how I work and how I utilize the different tools in my arsenal to create the finished product. It's still Monday night, August 23rd, and I've put in a little over an hour on drifting. But already I've had to make some interesting decisions. First of all, the tempo. I initially thought this would be a faster tempo, but I've had to drop it down to just 65 BPM. Vocals, obviously there's not a whole lot here, just drifting twice. The core of this is the strings, which is full orchestral strings, and bells, which is the rain vibes. From soundsforbeats.com, and actually the strings are the Atmos strings, at least for now. The vocals are currently using the French horn from the basic print music sound set, which is fine. It'll make sense later on as to why I'm actually doing that now. Of course, putting something in there also allows me to put in the lyrics, so I'll know what lyrics to put where when it comes time for that. So at the moment, here's just kind of the tail end of what I have already, starting right here. That's all I have for the moment. But as you can tell, the French horn, very dry. Um, to be honest, officially, the strings and the rain vibes are also dry. Um, I haven't used any additional effects on those, but the SFZ Plus sound font itself, let's see, here we go, does have uh, chorus reverb section in it. Plus, you can also play around with some of the other settings for an individual instrument in it. So there is that sense of effects on it. But if you look at the official effect parameter here within print music, nothing. I haven't touched any of these, and really don't plan to, because I found from experience that trying to mix within print music sometimes works, but it's best to export everything into Music Maker and mix there. That will be a requirement for this piece because I have vocals. I cannot integrate vocals directly into print music, so I will be forced to do the final mixing in Music Maker regardless. Okay, it is now about 6 p.m. on Tuesday the 24th, and I've been doing a little more work on this, starting pretty early today, and also about an hour and a half just now. And in terms of where I am in relation to the lyrics, I'm about halfway through the piece. When I shot the video last night, I did a little more work after that, but at that point I was, I think, at 16 bars for the entire piece, and now I'm up to 48, including all of the first verse and chorus, I suppose, and also flute solo. What I've also done as well is, and I haven't really spent a whole lot of time on this, but I've added some more frills on the bells line, which again is the rain vibes instead. And I've also added a guitar, and this is currently mapped to the nylon string guitar sound that comes with the print music default sound set, but I definitely intend to, it's okay for a placeholder for now, but it doesn't really fit with the rest of the piece at the moment. So I definitely plan to get some of the acoustic guitars from soundsforbeats.com. I tested a couple of those. They sound pretty good in isolation. Of course, you'll never really know how they'll fit with the actual music until you put them in. But the good thing is, at such an inexpensive price, it doesn't matter. I can buy 5, 10 of them and have my pick and not really be out a whole lot of money. Which is one of the reasons I like Genesis's sound sets that he makes. One of the other things that I've done here is also added a couple time signature changes, just one measure per instance, but it does help to make some of the transitions stand out a little bit more. So that's where I'm at right now in terms of my plans moving forward. Hopefully I can finish out the core of the piece over the next, say, 48 hours or so, and then spend the rest of the week, work schedule permitting, focusing on just adding some more frills with the guitar, the rain vibes, maybe some other instruments as well, to help keep this piece kind of flowing and upbeat, even though it is a rather slow 65 beats per minute. But I suppose in the end only time will tell. And then ultimately, if at all possible, I'll spend a good chunk of the weekend working with Vocaloid Miriam, working with the phonemes and the Vocaloid editor, and if at all possible, get to a point where by early or maybe midweek next week, actually be doing the mixing in Music Maker. So that's the plan for now. Hopefully that will hold. It is Wednesday, the 25th of August, 2010, about 8:30 p.m., and I have certainly come quite a ways with the piece here. We're now up to 124 measures. That's the end of the music itself. Although admittedly the last 32 measures or so are very repetitive. And the reason for that is because I plan a long, slow fade out to silent. Not something I particularly like in general in music, but in this case, with the overall feel of the piece, especially once I layer on the watery sound effects that I have in mind, I think it'll work quite perfectly. So in this case, it's going to be a very good exception, I believe. I have jumped my timetable a bit and ordered some additional sound fonts from Genesis at soundsforbeats.com. Ordered 4 acoustic guitars and 1 harp, and realized once I plugged them all in and tried them in the guitar line that I mentioned in the previous video clip, that the Sweet Melody G guitar was best. Really seemed to sit best with the other instruments already in it. And I also have the stage choir as well. This is a sound font also from Genesis that I had previously that I've used on quite a few pieces already. And I find that it sits really well in general in the bass clef, but with this piece in particular, it's almost a perfect mirror for the Atmos strings, and they complement each other very nicely. The stage choir itself is very subtle, at least at the moment it is, but I think it does add a nice element to the piece to have it. So to kind of give you a quick sense for both the Sweet Melody G and the stage choir here, let me do a quick sample here, starting from measure 55. So that's what we have at the moment. I do want to ideally keep working with adding some additional frills, I suppose, to the piece over the next couple of days. Because, again, it is rather slow. It does need some variety behind it. So that's what I want to work on adding still. May also include adding a couple more instruments here or there, we'll see. And ideally, by the weekend, I will be in a position to start working with the vocals, start editing the phonemes, which should be interesting for this piece. But anyways, that's the plan. Hopefully we can stay on track and still be able to get to the mixing early next week.
jms3music